Shauna.
Evaluations earlier this year determined that it would cost more than $1.5 billion just to meet our most critical needs, construction needs in our poorest districts. The legislature in the last couple of years has been sort of chipping away at that. What do you think the state's responsibility is in terms of school construction, and are you willing to push the legislature to continue a yearly investment?
I would always push the legislature to do what is in the best interest of students. You know, I mentioned earlier that we have school buildings that are 50, 70, 100 years old. You know, there was a school in Lee County where the ceiling caved in. And, you know, those are things that when you talk about academic learning for students, if they don't have a safe building in which to learn, that is free from mold and mildew and you know, those sort of things, then you can't expect them to focus on learning. I think that as a state, and it is written into our Constitution, we have an obligation to educate our students, and that starts off with safe school buildings. When we talk about school safety, a safe school building, safe and secure school building is one of the ways to make sure that that happens. For too long, our state has neglected our school buildings around the state, and now they're paying the price because what would have cost much less years ago is now costing more and more. I do think that we have a responsibility, the legislature has a responsibility to fund education, and they haven't done that since 2008, and we see the price that our students are paying because of it.
Ms. Weaver.
I do believe that it is a responsibility of the state to ensure that our students have safe and secure learning environments wherever they are in this state. There is so much money that is currently in our education system, and I'd like to see us make efficient use of the money that we already have in the system before we just start throwing money at problems. It seems like that too often is the call and the default of many in the education status quo, such as my opponent, who always go to more money is the answer. I think that there are many things that we can do at the state level through the Office of School Facilities to look at our buildings across the state, to develop a priority list, and then to go to the General Assembly to get that list funded. But again, that's going to actually take someone who is willing to work with the General Assembly, who has the relationships to get things done, not someone who has been adversarial and really done nothing but burn bridges over the last 4 years.
I don't know if exactly that qualifies for a rebuttal, but assuming maybe.
I would like to,
yes.
to make a rebuttal. I find it so ironic that I am considered the status quo when I am the low man on the totem pole and have been fighting to have my voice heard for 4 years about the problems in education. The status quo is not me. The status quo, the teachers who we are the ones who are fighting hard for our students. When we're talking about funding, I think it's important for us to understand that our General Assembly has underfunded our schools since 2008 to the tune of $700 per student last year. So when you're consistently underfunding, you cannot expect students and teachers to have success. That is the role of the superintendent, is to push for proper funding for our schools. Can we change some of the funding? Absolutely. But first of all, we need to make sure that we're fully funding it.